Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. My name is Tom Tompkins. I'm the host and the founder of Vehicle Visionary, and today I'm back at Holmes Honda in Shreveport, Louisiana. Today we're going to take a look at the 2019 Honda Accord. This is the hybrid and touring version of the Accord. And the Honda Accord has been around for a young 42 years. It was first brought on the scene in 1976 and is now into its 10th generation. So let's start our tour of this particular Accord, which happens to, in my opinion at least, be the best looking Accord that has ever been available from Honda. So let's start our tour with the front end. Here on the front end of the 2019 Accord Hybrid, you're going to find these very stylish LED headlights, chrome on the grille. You've got the black accent on the front grille right here. But the main action taking place here on the front end is right here. This is Honda Sensing. This is basically the radar that will keep you safe with this Accord. And there are so many different features that are included in Honda Sensing. I'm going to list them on the screen. I mean, you've got autonomous braking, automatic high beams, lane keep assist, lane departure warnings, front collision warnings, rear collision warnings, so many different things. I'm not even going to try and tell you all of them. They're on the screen right there to my left so you can know. Now, one of my most interesting facts, or one of the most interesting facts for myself here, is what's taking place under the hood. So let me open the hood and tell you all about it. Now, here under the hood is something that I think is an engineering marvel. It's very fascinating because you actually have two separate motors underneath the hood. On the driver's right is the 2-liter 4-cylinder gas engine, 129 horsepower and 143 foot-pounds of torque. On the driver's left is the AC motor. Now, if you're thinking only 129 foot-pounds of torque out of the gas motor, well, I think you'll be more impressed with the AC motor that's here on the left-hand side of the engine bay. It's putting out 181 horsepower and 232 foot-pounds of torque. Below 45 miles per hour, the Accord Hybrid is only going to use the AC motor. And moving on to the side of the 2019 Accord Hybrid, you have the hybrid badges on the left and right side fenders, power mirrors, blinker in the mirror, and if you hit the key fob, the lock button 2 times, you're going to hear that little beep. I hope you picked that up on the video audio, but that means the security system has been armed. And all you have to do to unlock the door is just walk up to it. You don't have to actually push any buttons. There's not passive entry necessarily as far as a button goes. You're just going to walk up. It's going to sense that you're near. It's automatically going to unlock the doors, and you can get right in. And you have factory tinted windows, got some chrome trim around the windows. Of course, you also have black accents as well. One of the things that a lot of people have a question about when they get their new car, sometimes they're thinking, well, how do I open the fuel door? On this one, there's not an interior button, nothing like that. All you have to do is walk up, you just push against the fuel door. It's going to open right up, and you have capless fuel fill. And of course, on the rear, you do have LED tail lights. The backup lights and the blinkers are not LED, but the tail lights themselves are. Not a big deal there. But again, more accents here, the hybrid logo, the touring badge right here on the bottom, right underneath that, and of course Accord right here. Now, getting into the trunk, you have a couple of different options. There's a button on the driver's side door if you want to get in that way, or right underneath here, above the license plate bracket, is a button to get in as well. And your third option, of course, is the remote. Just push that button down. You just hold down the button for the trunk to open. It's going to automatically open and pop up on its own, and you can get right in. Nice amount of storage space here. There is a plastic mat here to protect the carpet. And now that I've climbed into the back seat of the 2019 Accord, one of the great things about this generation of Accord is it does have the largest cabin space in its class. Lots of leg room. I'm 5'10", so I'm kind of close to the ceiling up here, but other than that, it's very roomy back here. You have an armrest here with cup holders built in and dual air conditioning back here for your passengers as well, storage on the doors, and some pockets behind the seats. Okay guys, we're here in the interior of the Accord, and before we get too far into this, I want to point out there is a sunroof right here, or a moonroof, depending on which you wish to call it. The button to open and close that is found here right up between the two reading lights. And moving on to the instrument cluster. On the instrument cluster, starting on the left-hand side, you have the battery level gauge, the power gauge, the speedometer, and the fuel gauge. Now, here on the steering wheel, you might look at this and automatically think that there are shifter paddles on the back of the steering wheel. Actually, that is for controlling the regen braking, and so instead of the shifter paddles, that is what that is for. And on the steering wheel, starting on the left-hand side, you have the infotainment controls that are on the left, adaptive cruise control, and radar and heads-up display are on the right. The heads-up display is turned on and off to the left of the steering wheel. On the bottom left-hand side of the steering wheel, the dedicated phone and voice command buttons. On the bottom right, you have the lane keep assist on and off buttons. And here in the middle, of course, you have two cup holders. Here is your shifter, which is very common, but if this is something you're thinking about buying and you haven't seen the shifter in the Honda Accord this particular generation, let me tell you what all is there. Starting at the top, you have park, and then you have reverse behind that, neutral, drive, econ, and sport modes, EV mode, the park brake, and the auto brake hold. Just above that, here in the center console, you have a little compartment you can actually open or close. That, if you wish, you can actually conceal that away. There is a cover for that, but you have a USB port and a power outlet. Right above that is the controls for the air conditioner, if you want to control them right here, hazard light button, and the infotainment screen. And of course, the two knobs on each side of the infotainment screen are on the left-hand side for the radio volume, and on the right-hand side, the tuning of the radio, going back and forth between stations. Now, looking at the infotainment screen, of course, you have several different buttons on each side. You don't have to use the touch screen for everything. So you've got a home button, and as you can see on your screen right now, several other buttons on each side. And then, of course, you can swipe back and forth on the infotainment screen right here. You can also click this button on the bottom left-hand side that will take you to all apps, and you can scroll through all of that. Every single app is available right there. To get back home, of course, you can hit the button at the very top. Everything's very self-explanatory here. Navigation, phone, settings, which is always a good thing to see if you want to go in and change pretty much anything you want. Sound, display, connections, everything right there. Very nice, very easy. You can also go in and look at what the vehicle is doing as far as the charge and everything goes with the power flow. That's a really nice thing to see right there. Everything you need to know about what's going on with the AC motor in this vehicle. All right, guys, here we go on our test drive with the 2019 Honda Accord Hybrid. Being that this is the touring version, it's as comfortable as I expected it to be. The acceleration is nice. I mean, it's not a high horsepower vehicle, but at 48 miles per gallon, you wouldn't expect it to be. But I like the way it accelerates. It's nice and smooth. The steering is nice and tight. It's not sports car tight necessarily, but it is good and comfortable. Not a lot of play in the steering wheel. That's actually extremely minimal. Really good for a touring sedan, basically. The steering wheel itself is nice and comfortable. I like the way it feels. I can tell that if I was to take this on a long road trip, that I would be very, very happy. My hands would be comfortable. They wouldn't get tired and feel uncomfortable based on the materials on the steering wheel. Everything is very easy to get to, which I always like that. Once you have everything memorized, basically a lot of people, I guess, would call that muscle memory, then you won't even have to look at what you're doing to make different changes, to use different settings and different functionality. I'm really impressed with the acceleration, the way the car drives. It seems to ride really well. I'm on a really smooth road right now, but from where I just came from before I actually turned the camera on and started talking to you on the video, that road was not the best, and the Accord seemed to soak up the bumps pretty well. Of course, a vehicle of this size I would expect is going to ride well. The heads-up display is on, very easy to see, and you can adjust where the heads-up display is located on the windshield depending on your preferences. But it's nice and easy to see. I'm not having to look for it. It's not hard to see even with the glare of the sun, which is always nice anytime you drive a vehicle that has a heads-up display. And out here on the open road a little bit more here, the speed limit's a little bit higher, 60 miles an hour, so we'll cruise on down the road a little bit. And like I said, the Accord accelerates nicely, very nicely. No matter which engine you're actually using, it's going to accelerate just fine, and about like what you would expect for a vehicle like this. But I have to say, everything about this car is comfortable. The accelerator is nice and comfortable. The brakes aren't overly tight. They're not difficult to get used to. They're not soft necessarily in the respect of how they work. It's just that I like how the brake pedal, when you ease down on it, you don't have to adjust to an aggressive braking system. And that ends my time with the 2019 Honda Accord Hybrid, the touring version. Wonderful car. I really enjoyed doing this review, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you can receive notifications when my regularly posted videos are available for you to watch. Thank you for taking the time to watch, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful day.